Alright, so by now I believe say I don't see wetin dey happen for Nepal, where the Gen Zs of Nepal came out in large number to say no to corruption and that their country must better. Now, in the quest of this, they don't carry a lot of their government officials. They beat them. Some of them, they buy them. You know, they enter government houses. They burn them. They burn a lot of things, a lot of businesses, just to make a statement that we are saying no to corruption. Now, Nepal is a country of like 25 million people, 26 million people thereabouts. It'd be like, if you just, in short, Lagos State, it just be like Lagos population. Now, these people came out in large number to say no to corruption. Now, how did this whole thing start? It started with some activists for their country. When they tweet, they talk about corruption of the government. Now, what is the part of the corruption where they talk about? They say their government officials, they send their children go abroad. They go school. Their children, they enjoy. Their children, they post on social media. They enjoy their lives. Why them? Citizens of Nepal, they suffer. Say, may the government do something about them. Now, instead of the government to tackle those situations, the government say, okay, now this social media, they make them talk. Why are they exposing our corruption? Just like waiting.
All right, Barrister, that was Nepal. Everybody, that made the news over, I think, earlier in the week. What happened was it didn't make that much news in the US because of what happened. This conservative leader that was maybe we'll talk about it later. That was killed. So that was what actually swallowed up the Nepal news. So we didn't hear much about it. It's sort of so. Anyway, I picked interest in that because I juxtaposed it with the Nigerian situation. Nepal, just like Verydarkman said, is a country of almost 30 million. I think it's more than 26 million, I think, but almost 30 million in population. They have similar issue with that of Nigeria, but their issue is even better than our situation in Nigeria. Nigeria is more corrupt far more corrupt than Nepal. Yet, look at what they think at this juncture that they have gotten to their breaking point. And what actually took them to that breaking point was this issue of the thing. This thing was actually just like what we have in Nigeria. It's an accumulative. It was an accumulative offense or sin from the government, But what broke the camel's back was that the Nepalese government wanted to ban social media. So that means you are flogging the people, depriving them of basic necessities of life, and asking them not to speak, not to cry. That is what it means. So. And that was, to the Nepalese, that was their breaking point. No, you can't be enslaving us and ask us not to speak, not to talk. So, and this talking was the platform. The government wanted to take away the platform for them to vent. Because when someone is angry, you allow that person to actually have an avenue to vent his or her anger or frustration. Otherwise, that person will do the unthinkable. And that is why you see so many people, they either commit suicide or commit mass murder. Just go on shooting people or committing some crazy stuff because there is they were not given the opportunity to ventilate their frustrations and their anger. That was the scenario that played out in Nepal. The government wanted to shut the mouth of the citizens that they have been enslaving for years. Now, juxtapose it with that of Nigeria. Nigerian government has done far worse than what the Nepalese government has done. Yes, we Nigerians are we see almost half of, okay, I'm trying to, it may be exaggerative, but almost half of the country are still in support of, either in support of Tinubu, or they are indifferent about what is happening. And some of them are they are just not ready to do anything about it. A sort of barrister. What do you think?
You mentioned that the Nepal protest did not achieve prominence in the US.
Yes.
But I can tell you that in Nigeria, it was very prominent. The government was really scared because people were already drawing parallels with what happened in Nepal and suggesting that we should do the same, if not more, in Nigeria. So the government already began to panic, and warnings have been sent out by the security agencies, and they have taken many steps. Because even in Nigeria, they are already on the path to try to limit the social media. Like I told you, they have written to Facebook and X and other things, threatening unspecified consequences, which we know is closure, if they do not take down certain statements. So already in Nigeria, the government was panicking because of what happened in Nepal, because commentaries in Nigeria on the social media and elsewhere were already pointing to parallels that we will do something like this in Nigeria. But the truth is that you have to understand that a lot of countries like Nepal, they are far, far more cohesive and nationalistic than Nigeria. Nigeria is not really a country in the true sense of the word. We can say Nigeria a legal entity, but it's not truly a country. All the we have disparate ethnic groups, each looking after himself. Nobody talking about the collective good of Nigeria as a country. That is one of the biggest problems Nigeria face. And I always say that if we want to make this country grow, we have to instill some unity and nationalism across the board. Because today you will see protests will start in Lagos, and some people will stay in Kano and say, no, it's not our own. That this thing is not us. These people are against us. They will even do counter protests because we don't have a sense of nationalism across the Nigerian space. And that is one of the biggest problems we have. Other countries, like you say, look at Nepal, 29 point something million, but they are cohesive, they are nationalistic, they think in terms of their country. But come here, every ethnic group, we have retreated into our ethnic groups. Nobody.
Should that be the reason to split the country? Do you think Nigeria for us to solve the Nigerian problem? Everybody has to go his or her separate ways.
Always being cautious on
because
this
my point, why I brought up this question, because the truth is we've had, I didn't expect Nigerians to be sensitive to what happened. The team may have rang serious bell to Nigeria or Nigerians when it was happening, but the truth is I wasn't expecting any follow-up from Nigerians, because Nigeria, this is not the first time. We've had the Arab Spring. I remember when all those Arab Spring was happening, or whatever. That was when I thought that Nigeria would follow suit or whatever. So many things were happening then. So many countries followed suit. And sort of these are countries that at that point were far doing better than Nigeria. Now that was when Nigeria was the second or the first most corrupt country in the world. When all those Arab Spring when Arab Spring actually took place. Now we have the situation the African situation too, where you have military coup taking place in Mali, take place in Burkina Faso, took place in Niger, at the same time, these countries are actually our neighbors. Two of these countries are actually our neighbors, except Mali. Now, then I was expecting the same thing to have, at least for our military to follow suit and do the same thing. Yet, what happened? Nothing happened. So we are used to all these things. Everybody except Nigeria, every other countries of the other nations of the world will always take action against their government, except Nigerians. That is the point. So my problem is, I don't know where if we cannot, if Nigeria is bereaved. I think that's the right word. If Nigeria has become bereaved of breaking point, that means we do not have a breaking point. We can just take anything, hook, line, and sinker, and live with it, live and die with it. If we are getting to that point, as a result of us having multi-ethnic ethnic groups, why don't we split the country into at least 3 regions or 2? Okay, at least 2 regions, or at worst 3 regions. Let the southwest go their way, southeast go their way, and the north go their way, and that is just it. Because and this is one of the reasons why the establishments do not want to split the country, because they still want, they believe that as the country as it is today, they are reusing this ethnic fluidity or ethnic overwhelming number of ethnicity or ethnic groups in Nigeria is actually playing in their favor. They are using it to manipulate us. Barrister.
Yes, over the years, I have been an incredible optimist of the Nigerian project. I have argued in the past with people that, yes, we are going to survive as Nigeria. And even in the face of different odds and this year, I have always been extremely optimistic. But recently, I have begun to lose that optimism. I have begun to see that perhaps it is not possible for us to live together as one country. The dynamics that are happening in Nigeria make it virtually impossible for us to continue as one country. I'll just give you an example and let people not take it in a different way. I have a video that somebody, a cleric, was preaching to his audience and said, look, for an unbeliever, a Christian, that we rule Nigeria and give him a good life, improve his health, improve his economy, make him rich, make him good, and his children, and a Muslim that will rule Nigeria badly and even lead to his death. He preferred the Muslim.
Wow. That's what the cleric said?
Yes, the tape is there. And he said the reason is, in their religion, the first order of leadership is the religion.
You would have forwarded that tape to me. I would have talked about that specifically.
I will forward it to you. He said the first order of leadership, the first consideration is the religion, not good governance or anything of that nature. So and there are so many tapes all over both sides. When you hear this, where do your confidence? I have had so much confidence in the Nigerian
project. This is the reason why this is the reason why they preferred Bola Tinubu against Peter Obi. They know quite all right that Peter Obi will be a much better president. But
from what I'm seeing, I have begun to lose the confidence in the Nigerian project, and I have begun to accept that the project is not going in the right direction, and the direction is going is where we will reach a point where there will be separation. Now, I believe that some of our leaders who are at the very top know that this country is not going to hold together. That is why this mindless stealing is going on, because you cannot explain it. If you are there and you are stealing billions and billions, it's as if you think there is no tomorrow, that this country will not survive. So let you make whatever you can. I can only see that as the only reason, because the mindless looting of the country has no genuine explanation. And the kind of division that is in the country, how do we put it together? How do we come back from that extreme views that people have across the country and build a nation where the common good, the Nigerian issue, the Nigerian point will be foremost instead of my ethnic and religious agenda? This is the problem. And without that, we have a nation only on paper or a legal entity, but not a nation in the true sense, because we cannot reach consensus on anything in Nigeria. On anything, maybe apart from football. We cannot reach consensus on any point across Nigeria. And how do you have a nation that cannot have a consensus? How do you go forward with that? So I've virtually lost faith in the Nigerian enterprise, in the Nigerian project. And I have begun to accept that perhaps it is better for the country to be separated. But the separation itself is the bigger issue.
No, it's not. It's not the bigger. We'll talk about that anyway. I understand where that what you just said, the statement you just made now. I think I understand where you are heading. Yeah, but you will have look. You always have issues. Every system will always have issue of this issue of it is the minorities are being oppressed or whatever. Yes, I agree with. I think that's where you are heading. But again, we'll talk about it on the. But I don't think that we'll have. I don't think we'll have a bigger issue. We'll have issues, but not a bigger issue than what we have now. Because when we have other groups, the moment they split, there will be that coherence and that synergy between, just like what we have in Nepal, because where you have everybody, there's this unity of faith, unity of purpose, being projected or whatever. At that point, you will not hear that much of, okay, this person is not from my region, or that person is not my religion, or whatever. Because when you go to the Southwest, you will have, okay, a split, whatever, where you have the Muslims and Christians or whatever of probably equal or equal proportion or thereabout. But you go to the East, like somewhere like East, nobody will play religious card there when the Biafrans get their own, because everybody, overwhelming majority, about 90 to 95% of the Easterners, Igbos, are Christians. So what are you in such a scenario? Nobody can use religion against anybody. The politicians, the powers that be, cannot use religion to divide people. And they all in Igbo land, majority of them, including from the south or whatever, we have about 80% of the population in Igbo speak the same dialect. They understand each other. About 80%. So the remaining 20% are, okay, from some certain part of River State and some other part or whatever, like the Jaws and other whatever, the Kalakbaris, where they don't understand each other, whatever. I think it's even more than 80%, about 85% of southeast. They understand each other. So the dynamic will not be that much as what we have as a country called Nigeria, in a country called Nigeria. It's not. I don't think that what your concern will be that bad. A sort of will be worse than having the single entity called Nigeria. I don't think so. I think the best thing, honestly, is for me. I have zeroed in on that because that's the only option we have right now. No, two options. Either a purposeful military coup. Three options, in fact. A purposeful military coup where you have a good, patriotic, sincere, credible military head of state that will take us from this quagmire, away from this quagmire, just like what Traoré is doing in Burkina Faso. And even this guy in Niger or whatever, Niger too is trying his best. Or a revolution, a violent revolution. Then that's the second option. The third option is for the country, at least 2 regions to go their separate way, but at most 3 regions to go their separate way. Southwest, Southeast go their separate ways, Southwest go their separate ways. Then the North Of course, the middle belt will go with not. So these are the three options on the table, and this is what I just subscribe to. But this issue, this non-workable, corrupt, over bloated, bloated and too expensive system of government called democracy, it's not workable for us. It won't work for us. It's not sustainable. We cannot sustain it. It's just not viable for us to move with. And that is my own take on this.